So this session is focused on career growth opportunities for CX professionals. And yeah, so that's pretty much what we're going to be looking at. But again, we will need you to vote, just so we know what questions are top of mind for you. And you know, we're also jumping on that. I'll probably say maybe I'm a bit more generous than the other panelists, but if you have questions that you think we've not added, you can add it. And if we have time, we'll take it, okay? All right, I'll just go and get started with my very first question. So I think before we jump into, giving advice and all of that to everybody that's here, I want to hear your story, right? How did you get into CX, and what has your growth trajectory been like? So I'll start from Ademiju, then Elizabeth, and then you, Stephen.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. My story. I'll make it very brief. Many a times, a whole lot of us always have it, set, ready. We have planned everything. You know where you are going. You know where you are. You know what you need to get to where you are going. But there are some of us also that are not as, if you permit me, for lack of a better word, smart. So you see some people, they call themselves accidental civil servants, accidental presidents. It such happened that it's not that they planned it, but fate,
I think for most
happened.
of us,
Yeah,
Nigeria would probably help you rearrange your career path.
So I started out in the development industry, in the private and in the public, with British Council and MTN Foundation. And that was because that was where my heart was going. I like to help people naturally. I like to give back to people. I feel that life has given me so much. I've been one of those that are privileged enough, to live without many things, and be too grateful for what we have and where we are. But will that bring bread to the table? No. So my curious mind started taking me to how does these funds that we're using to do good, how do they come by? Who are those responsible for making the good? How are they doing it? When you are hearing the numbers, at times, first time when I got sales, they asked me, how much do you think we're making per month? Then I said 2 million. Then everybody, everybody started laughing at, if you're making 2 million, do you think we will be able to pay you? And that tells you how naive I was, But it was my curious mind that made me to foray into the commercial part of the business. I wanted to know what is feeding the foundations that I've been part of and built. I wanted to know what is going to be sustaining it going forward. So going into the commercial, I got into sales. And as a salesman, I was very, very bullish. I was in sales strategy. We just focus on the books. Without the heart part, but my heart was still going to the people, at every time when we are crafting sales strategy, something in me will be telling me, this is not right, but sales is about meeting your target. You don't care how you make it, just go and get it done. In the business that I am in now, it is not like that anyway. But you still have that heart to just get it done and get it over and done with. So I started looking for roles that touch the heart of the people that we are serving. And that was when CustomerExperience came into the foray in our business about a decade ago. And I feel that, yes, that should be the heart of the business. And when you now look at what is going to support it, because largely customer experience, we are not seen as a revenue generating department, so you begin to ask yourself, so if the leadership of this business is not seen into the future, if they are not backing it, then you may be going into a very, very unsure future. So, but once I saw that the head of the team, the leadership of my organization are backing it. In fact, they made customer experience to be the central of our strategy going forward. I felt that this exactly is where we are going. And it reports directly to the CEO. So there was nothing that was stopping me. And that was how I found myself where I became. So from start, yes, I didn't plan so, but part-time. Just like an onion peel, it was getting clearer and getting clearer and getting clearer, and that's why I got myself into where I am now. So make up your mind whether it was planned, whether we're so smart, or whether fate was just good to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you give him a round of applause, please? All right, Elizabeth, let's hear from you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. For me, you know what happens after school when you've completed your education and you're thinking, what's next? So I got a call from a family member who was already in Lagos, and she says, oh, come to Lagos for an interview, and if you do well, you get the job. So that's how I came to Customer Experience. And then I came into Lagos. I got the first job with Access Bank as a contact center agent, and I started my career from bottom up, right? So the difference for growth for us, what we did was we wanted to do more. Joining the team at the time, so many years ago, I had some people who were already in the organization as contact center team members, but I can say my growth was rapid. So 3 months into being a contact center agent, I was made to lead my team. I became a team lead. And this was all because, as an individual, you need to know what you want, right? What do you want to do with wherever you find yourself? For me, I've always been a leader kind of person. I want to lead people. I want to teach people. And before I came to Lagos to get for the interview, I was already teaching in the school. I always loved teaching. So for me, it was, I came into the role, I put in my best, I asked a lot of questions, and I started growing from there. And as you can see, I'm here now. And I'm here because for every challenge that I came across, I always found a way to overcome those challenges. In our different roles as customer experience personnel, you find out that you're always faced with 1 or 2 or 3 challenges on a daily basis, personal challenges that can affect your growth. From the contact center agent role, I became a team lead. From that, I realized that I loved resolving issues. And that is how I found myself in complaints management. And it started with follow-up and resolution. How do you resolve issues? Why are things still pending? You ask the questions. Why are these things still pending? What can I do to ensure that these things are closed out? The customers at the back end of this entire engagement with our organization is faced with the fact that their issues are not being resolved, that will keep on coming back. So we started follow-up and resolution. From there, we went into complaints management. From there, we went into regulatory management of customer complaints in our organization, and we started growing and growing. So it's like there was a path. And then, to be honest, for me, I had done complaints management lead in some organizations, and then I kept on telling myself, what else? That's the question I always say. Keep on asking questions. So I said, why are we just here waiting for the solution? What is the root cause of this problem? And then I moved into compliance, right? Finding out complaints. So what happens? What's at the back of the mind of the people that are posting these transactions? What keeps them from not resolving these issues in a timely manner? And then I went into compliance and audit investigations, and then I understood root cause analysis. I was able to identify and come up with recommendations to my executive management on how to fix the issues holistically as against, they give you the solution and then you apply it to all your customers. Now, we've closed it out in such a way that the customers won't come back, right? And then I came back to customer experience and I'm here now. So that's my story.
Thank you for that. Oh, I think Stephen's mic is not. Oh, I think you need to turn it on. Is it on? Okay. Media, please. Oh, yeah, please go on.
Yeah, hi everyone. So for me, I'm not even really sure where to start because things happen very gradually and then all of a sudden they happen very quickly. But if I'll take it all the way back, I'll say how I got to this place is, it actually started with a very cold email way back when I was in university. So this was way back, and there was this music app that I liked because I really love music. So I'd gotten like my first smartphone. It was a Samsung Pocket, and that app was on the Play Store, and it was a Nigerian app built like streaming and selling music for downloads at first. And I sent an email to the developer saying I really love the app and I think, there's a chance for us to have our own iTunes and, just suggested a few things that I thought would be great if they had it. And the CEO emailed me and he said, I like how you think. Can you come and work for us? So I told him, actually I'm still in uni, but have, you guys know IT, the thing in your third or fourth year. So yeah, he said, okay, I should come along, and that's how I came to Lagos. And it's such a funny, long story. But when I got there because A, I love music, B, I love tech, and that was the perfect, synergy of both. So when I finished, doing my IT there, they told me to come back and work full time, and I did. While I was there, I realized I wanted to do more of tech. Very much more of tech. And I was already studying computer engineering, so I kept doing that while working for them. I was working with their artists at some point, building websites for them, just helping them with anything technical. And I decided that I just wanted to do that full time, and I left and I started my own small outfit. I and like 2 or 3 friends were building websites and apps for small businesses and we're building websites and applications for small businesses and individuals. So fast forward a few years later, the economy got so bad that I couldn't run the business, and I realized I didn't have any idea how to actually run a business. So I joined like an accelerator program in Ghana then, and I went through a year's program. And while I was there, somebody who was part of the institution, who I highly respect, he left there a few months while I was in, and he said he was going to take like a year's break, just figure out what he was doing next with his life. But then, like 2 months later, I heard he was at Paystack. And I was like, if these guys could pull him away from his year's break, they must be really great. And Paystack had just started. I knew Ezra from far. I knew Ope in passing as well. And I'd heard great things about them. And I was also at a point where the program was finishing. I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. Because the funny thing is, going through that program helps me realize even more that I didn't know enough about business. I'd learned so much. I saw how I could have made my business more resilient, but I knew that there was so much more to learn. So then Paystack put an application, and it was a role I did not know existed, which is, then we called it product implementation specialist, meaning you are someone who will help people integrate Paystack into their products. And it appealed to me because it had both non-technical aspects. You'd speak to people, you guide them, but it also had technical aspects. So I could still code, I could still enjoy the programming bit of things. So yeah, I was at that role for a couple of years. Then I think we only had one customer support person, Sheke, really amazing how she's held that team down. And when we started hiring more people, the company was growing really fast. I think at that time, we were processing about 20% of online transactions in Nigeria, but the customer support team was made up of 4 people and 2 technical support people. So my manager had like a lot of things on his plate. So I was just helping because, again, I had like the technical bit and I had the non-technical bit. So I was helping the support team put things together, setting up tools, coming up with things that maybe they didn't realize they needed. And yeah, so fast forward to a few years later, we needed to go build we realized we had to build a really big team. And then I was called to lead that team. So then I was leading then we call it user operations team. And then later on, the team I was part of, which is now called the developer relations team, was bundled under the same customer success sub-organization. So yeah, and now today I'm leading both teams. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think I'll throw this question to you, Ademijo. And I think it's interesting that this is like the top voted question. So it says, what are alternative career paths for CX professionals outside of the CX department? Are you guys looking to leave your roles? Yeah, and how can the CX role prepare them for such roles?
Thanks, Yami. Did I get a positive response when she asked the question?
You want to leave your roles. Ha!
All right. So, how would I answer this question? All of us in this room, we have a smartphone. We have different assistants that can help us to answer this question. But I'm not going to go any theoretical. Let us go practical. You didn't leave your homes to come and listen to any theory, right? One reality that I always have is that I don't own anything. Except my wife. All right. Nothing I can lay claim and say, this is mine. So there are no roles that you will see. I do tell my colleagues in the office, when they say, I came to your seat, I say, no, that's not my seat. It's not my seat. I'm just a temporary occupant, and this is just what I have to do today to remain relevant, bring value to my business, and to our shareholders. So what I'll tell you, customer experience is very new to us in Africa, really, as a profession now. Professionally, you will not find it everywhere, right? It was just about 10, 15 years that some organizations started picking customer experience. And now, a whole lot of us don't even just see the customer support, the customer service. We see it as the entire experience of the customer. So right from get-go to look at the end-to-end journey of what we do, you have a lot as not just alternative, but things that are supporting and aiding the experience of the customer, right? So today, the product designer in the room, there was a time about 4 or 5 years ago when the business mandated that before every product or service goes live, the customer experience team must review that product, and once my product team saw that, at that time, they started feeling, we want to quickly go to market, and they don't want anybody to know, all right? These customer experience people are going to be picking holes in everything we are doing, until they started realizing also that, wait, if we run to the market and come back, we'll come back to be redesigning. So everybody in the business started adopting experience. So right from project ideation, conception, experience has kicked in. So there must be people that are pro-customer in the room from that time. So alternatively, everything around building, ideation, building of the products, to the UI, to the UX, to the UX researcher, to, there are a whole lot along that chain. Testing, to the deployment, to the go-to-market. You can see all the value chain around it. So all those guys are things that we are going to go into. Some of us started being almost everything. I'm so sure that in some organizations, our chiefs will agree with me when they started. They were the ones they were the driver, they were the cleaner, they were the accountant. You understand? You have to know one or two things about almost everything. And that's what this is about. Now, we're not just customer support people. We're not just customer service people. We're not just waiting, for customers to have issues to come back to us. So everything around that entire chain is what we are going to get ourselves involved in. So if you are technically minded, you want to go into software development. Because you already have a heart for the customer. So while you are developing, you are already thinking for the customer. You're not just revenue focused. You're not just thinking about, let me tick this box and throw it out.
Deploying to fraud.
So right from it all, we have opportunities to go to markets, to sales consultancy, to customer engagement, to redesign of the products, everything, communication, everything I've got in my hands inside. Because at one point in time or the other, you need to get involved in it. And not just leave it at, this is not my job. That means you, as I said, you continue to hone that chair or table and say, this is what I do, and I'm not going to leave there. There's a whole lot of potentials in all of us that the organization is waiting for, the world out there are waiting for, for us to, for them to see, for them to have, for them to experience, for things to change. Even in our polity, it's good that we have this number of people here this afternoon, from morning till now, listening to this.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
I'm amazed. You guys are doing. So you did not just come to listen to us. You are here to now start opening your mind to everything around the product and the services that we're giving to our customers. Until the customer is happy. Until even the survey is telling us this is, all along that chain, everything we need to get ourselves involved. And not until that, then do we now aspire to climb up the ladder. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please give him a round of applause. I think maybe just to also just summarize what he has said, because I think he said quite a handful of nuggets if you were paying attention. And it's highlighting how that as a CX professional, you actually have the benefit of being involved in everything, right? Like in Cowrywise, we have CX people who are, interacting with product managers, with the engineers, with designers, with the CEO, with our growth team, right? Like they're everywhere, involved in everything. And when you look at that, so you mentioned the value chain, so it's looking at the length and breadth of all the interactions that you're privileged to have. And then you can find a particular spot that is of interest to you and just stick with that, and decide if that's the career path that you want to go with. That's if you are planning to leave your CX role, which, you shouldn't, but okay. All right, so my next question will be to Steve. It says, what key skills are essential for CX professionals to thrive? and grow in today's rapidly evolving business landscape, how can they self-evaluate their progress? Should I take it again? All right.
No, it's clear. There are a number of skills, and I don't think I can possibly go through all of them, but I'll mention the most important ones, or the ones that come to mind easily. The first one that I like to mention is empathy. And I don't really know if it's a skill or like a trait, but empathy is very important. And it's the ability to put yourself in that person's shoes. That person doesn't have to be right, but you understand that even though they are wrong, you understand why they think that way, or why they don't understand how it works behind the scenes, because they didn't have the training, they don't have the experience. So empathy is very important, because if you are not empathetic to the plight of your customer, then it's very hard for you to help them. Another one is curiosity. And I do wish more people in the field had curiosity. It's not enough to know that something doesn't work or you don't have that. Have you ever been curious to understand why are people asking for this? Or what are some ways that they can achieve the same thing even if it's not through pre-built tools that we made for them? Is there a way they can stitch this feature and this other tool and maybe this other third-party service and still achieve their goals, right? But you won't know that if you've not been curious. If all you do is get like a script or have a playbook and then you just stick to it without trying to improve on it or develop it, you're not going to have that. You're not going to be able to help people at the level that you should. Another one is the ability to, and I don't want to be taken wrong, but the ability to synthesize data. Now, I don't mean you need to be a data scientist, right? But one thing with data is that the more you know, the better it will be for you. But even if it's just, how will I put it? Even if it's just intuitive, that is, you are attending to several issues, you should be able to spot a common pattern if one exists, right? You should be able to see that at the level where this is happening, this requires another level of escalation. But the more you advance in your career, the more important it is for you to go into the numbers and be able to surface very important insights, not just for your team alone, but for the company as a whole. You are the person that is talking to the customer the most. You have to be the person that's talking to the customer the most. And if you're the person talking to the customer the most, you should be most intimate with their problems. That means the rest of your company is relying on your knowledge to know what to fix, to know where they are going wrong, right? So I'm going to pause here. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, my next question is to you, Elizabeth. And it says, how can one think about career growth in the CX profession? What are the typical career paths, and are leadership or management roles the only option?
Okay, so first things first, you have to broaden your expertise. What do I mean by that? He has spoken about curiosity. I mentioned earlier also about asking questions. People say curiosity kills the cat. For me, I believe, and what I always tell people, curiosity actually improves or helps you grow, because if you don't ask the right questions, you remain on the same level. You are not growing. So broaden your expertise. If you see something wrong with a particular transaction, what do you do about it? If you see something wrong with a particular process, what do you do about it? If you're, as you say, someone that just sits back and says, they haven't given me the solution yet, you can't grow. So you find out, what can I do? There's so many things that happened on the CX floor, right? We have contact center, which most people are familiar with. We have data analytics, people that go into the system to say, okay, what did our customers come to us about today? Why are the numbers spiking? What's the cause of this issue? We have the people that support the frontline team members, especially when you have a lot of traffic in your space. So you have that also. Then you also have what I call the service recovery team. There's sometimes that there's some situations where you cannot sort all your customers' issues, and you want people that are specialized in ensuring that that customer is taken care of, whether or not as a frontline you are weighed down with a lot of interactions to deal with at that time. That is within CX space. And then you have what we just created in my space, the product and process operations, for example. Those people are interested in the products. They go into the app every single day. What's wrong? Why can't the customer use this? Why can't the customer use that? It helps you collaborate. So you go into other departments to talk to them. But that's because you're interested in knowing the next step. If you're not interested in knowing the next step, you won't grow. You'll be stuck in your space where you are. So if you are someone that asks the right questions, you are in almost every engagement, you find out that every sub-team within the organization is interested in you. And the mandate we gave that team was, you are meant to be at the forefront of product development. Don't wait until the product is brought out and then we're saying, oh, the customer doesn't like this, customer doesn't like that. At the time they are building this product, somebody has to be there. And it's only someone that has shown an interest in product development that would be someone that you can send and say, these guys say they want to build a new investment platform. Let's go and look into that. Let's ensure that whatever they are building has the customer at the forefront of their process or their builds or their product development. That's that. And then, as I said earlier, in my own experience, I moved out of CX for a brief time. So people that want to move out briefly, right? I moved out briefly, but I was still looking at customers. I still wanted to find out how we can impact customers, and I went into compliance. I was interested in regulatory policies. I was always reading about it. So if you call consumer protection documents section, this was this. So it's about learning, ask questions, know about things outside your space. And then you go into compliance, you go into audit, you go into product development, you can become a product manager. I think someone's called, I think you're the one, right? That has moved from CX to product development. It's about what you're interested in. If you don't find out what you want to do, you realize that you are still in the same spot over time. But if you know what you want to do, first of all, identify that thing, start growing your expertise in that sport, and then you get recognized. There is no way you are doing something different from every other person that you're not recognized. So you get recognized, and from there you start growing. And as you're growing and moving into different fields, I have people that have moved from CX to talents, people that have moved from CX to audits, CX to compliance, CX to fraud. You know, you are dealing with fraud issues, you know what is happening there, and you are engaging. There is no way people would know about you if you don't engage. So you need to engage, and from there you start growing. So you can grow, scale up, or you can grow sideways. It depends on what you want to do and how you have positioned yourself to get to that point.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Okay, I think we'll just take one question and maybe just see it as like your closing, remark and encouragement to everyone here. And it's, I think it's just speaking to challenges that people are likely to face in the CX profession, and then how they can, equip themselves to handle those challenges and just grow in their career. Elizabeth, you want to start first?
Okay, so it's, for me, the challenges that most people face is, as I said, lack of visibility. You need to be visible. You can have all of the knowledge, you can have all of the information, but if you keep that with yourself, you would not scale up as much as you want to. So that's one of the major challenges, and I think I'll allow other people to speak to other points so we don't take too much time. But yes, lack of visibility can affect your growth in customer experience.
One that I will say is, because the work is very tough and it's very reactive a lot of the time, it's hard to carve out time for your learning and development. Also, if you have been in the role for a while, it's quite easy to feel stuck. So most people, I will guess that's why they're looking for like other opportunities, because they feel like they're stuck. But the thing with customer experience, customer success, anything customer operation-wise, is that because your customers, because their needs are infinite, it means that almost anything you learn could be applied in helping your organization get better, right? So for me, I would say I used to be a programmer, and that was very helpful to my progress because I look at problems and I look at it with like a different viewpoint than maybe if I wasn't that. So I'm looking at tools, I'm looking at how can I extend the capabilities of these tools in a way that the authors maybe never even thought of, right? If earlier I mentioned data, right? You take a data course on Coursera or something, and then you will see how there are actually things out there in the world that people have done years ago that you can now apply to the same thing you have been doing and get very different, very remarkable results. So what I'll say is it's easy to feel stuck. Just be curious, right? If there's something that you know you don't know, then find that time, invest in yourself. It's not just for your company, it's for yourself, right? Apart from growing within the role, like she mentioned, you can grow sideways. You can move to another role if you think that's good for you. But even if you stay within your role, it's like having superpowers, right? It's like gathering the rings on Thanos, whatever. So the more you have, the more your ability to execute. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth and Steve, they've said it all. What I would just want to add, this week also is, I think, the mental health week, right? Yeah. So first, how do we see ourselves? Elizabeth talked about visibility. Steve talked about PDP, your personal development plan, right? No, not that
Are
PDP.
you a PDP card member?
Not that PDP. All right. But all in all, first, how do you see yourselves? I did mention earlier that a whole lot of us that were outside CEX used to see CEX as a call center, right? And it could be so derogatory. Some people, when they come into some rooms, they get to look down on themselves because, when some other people are throwing numbers here and there, you're like, okay, so what am I bringing to the table? Who am I here? If this organization needs to downsize, I'll be the first person to go, However, I'm here to tell us, you are the most important person in that room. Because what we are doing is sustaining the business by ensuring that acquisition is ongoing, right? Retention is ongoing, and churn is reducing. You can see what you are bringing to the table. Now quantify that. Turn the coin and look here at that. What exactly are you doing that you can say at the end of the day, this is how much I have saved the business? Since it is about the Benjamins, right? What have I saved? So what is the cost savings of everything that you're doing? And all of us are doing collectively. And let us see if the business will be able to survive without that. Then look at the brand erosion that the business would have had if you are not doing your job very well. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that you are very, very vital, critical to the success of every business. You are one of the most important people in that room, and that is how you should see yourself. And when you start seeing yourself like that, then the trajectory will be so positive that some of us will have to be using glasses, to see you. But really, it is too important how we see ourselves. Or else, you see some people and they'll tell you, what am I doing here? And you can't see what you're doing, really. And by the time I sit down with them to tell, they're like, wow, I never knew that I'm bringing this much to the business. And I say, anytime the CEO or the leadership are throwing up the business numbers, you start to look at, this is where you are. This is what you are doing. This is the value that you are adding. And by so doing, the sky will be your limit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. We have to end the session now.